Alright, what's up people? This is gonna be the first video log in my hydro excavation journey. This is a new company that we have started in the past couple months, ran by my brother and I. We're located in Raleigh, North Carolina. We work all over Eastern NC, but basically I wanted to start making a few videos so that maybe I can help along the next guy who is just a few steps behind me. Something I learned when starting this is that there was a whole lot I didn't know. Stuff like this, there's not many places you can go to find information, so a lot of this was trial and error. I didn't have many people to be able to talk to about selecting the machine. Of course, you can talk to the people at the dealership, but they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear so that they can make a sale on the machine. And I've been pretty pleased with this machine so far. It is a Ditch Witch HX30G. The G stands for gas. If I could have got a machine with a diesel power pack, I would have done it. They have much higher suction and the truck's already diesel, so I'd like to just be able to have a diesel transfer tank in the bed of my truck for fuel and everything. But that's beside the point. Yeah, today is a quick little project, actually coming back to finish something I started last week. I was not able to finish because I did not have a 12-inch sewer plug to be able to spray down the last manhole over here on this corner of the job site. So coming back with a 12-inch plug today, get that sewer line plugged up so that as I'm spraying water and vacuuming it out, we do not send any sediment further down into the sewer system. So, all right, basically I'll get right to it, and you guys will get to see a little bit of what I'm doing. All right, what's up people? Today we are in the beautiful town of Wendell, coming back to finish up a small project that we started at the end of last week, but we were not able to finish because we didn't have our 12-inch sewer plug. Right here we got the manhole we're going to be spraying down today. Let's see what we left. Go ahead. Get our trusty manhole hook. The dirty toolbox. This is why you don't leave ratchet straps just laying around. Okay. Looks like we got a good view here. This is what we're working with. We've got 8-inch on that side, 12-inch on this side, and that is why I had to pick up a 12-inch plug. So doesn't look like a lot. Get it plugged up, get that little bit of mud out of the pipe as much as we can get, and we'll get to spraying. All right. So we got our tools in place here, compressor ready to go. Hopefully got enough air. Got our ball down in the hole. Let's see what we can do. All right. A little bit to help you guys out. That is absolutely filthy. Holy shit. I don't know if you guys can hear, but I'm echoing all the way through the pipe here. This looks disgusting. Now, normally this is something that you would want to run a jetter through from the other side, but as we currently sit, we do not have the capability to flush heavy sediment through the pipe like this. So, made a deal with the contractor that we are going to come in and clean all of these manholes, primarily just so the surveyors can get in here and take their shots for the as-builts. But something will have to be done about this eventually. Alright, got enough of that cleared out. Hopefully our ball will make a good seal in here. This is a 12-inch inflatable sewer plug. This one here is solid. They call it a test ball, whatever the heck that means. But there's some other ones that have a hole in the middle. They call those a muni ball, and it allows you to pass things through there for some reason. See if we can get this thing filled up. That took longer to fill up than I thought. So either we're running low on air, or this is bigger than 12 inches. Alright, I think that should form a good seal. Get this up and out of the way. Get out of the hole. And we will get the vac set up here. Alright, we got the hard part done, connecting this here suction pipe. Left that part out so you guys didn't have to hear me grunting and cursing up a storm. But let's see, grab our wand. Considering how small this manhole is, I think I'm just going to stick with our wash down gun here, just to make it a little easier on me. Pull out some of our water hose here. Make sure nothing's sitting in the line. Get that connected. Good to go there. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and shut our vacuum on here. It's going to get a little loud, so you guys probably won't be able to hear me, but I think this should be relatively quick. I'll drop our suction hose here and on the lower side, so as I'm cleaning, everything should naturally just kind of fall right in, and that'll be a wrap. So let's see what we got. Get my ear protection on, because this thing is very loud. I really need to put this thing on our test ball here so it doesn't get clogged up when I go to let out the air. Alright, these are warming up. Go ahead and throttle her up. looks like there's a little bit of stuff coming out of that 8-inch pipe. So thinking we're gonna run one of our little jets up in there, see if that'll work it out for us. The last thing you want to do is leave just that little amount in there. It's gonna get you a call back. So let's tip and we'll see how this goes. Just another minute. I was just spraying it down real quick.
Yeah, boy.
All right, so as I hope you can see, let's get my phone here so I can tell what you guys are seeing. As you can see, that thing is pretty dang clean. Apologize for missing that last little bit. Had a surveyor come up and talk to me for a minute. Exactly like I was talking about. They need to come in here and take some shots on these things for the as-built drawings, and when they're too dirty, they just can't get an accurate measurement. So this guy's all clean. Ran the jetter back up in that pipe a little bit. Try to work out some of that sediment that's just sitting right here. I'm hoping nothing really washed down the line. It looked like basically this manhole lid just got knocked off when they were in here building these roads. I mean, you can tell this part's not finished, but they stopped just about over there, and it's pretty common just to have stuff fall down in here during the road building process. So got them all clean of that. I'm gonna go ahead and jump inside, release that plug, and we'll see really how bad it is after the plug. I know there's gonna be a little bit of sediment sitting in that pipe, but it goes deep into the woods over here for the outfall, and then basically it jumps across the road and goes to the backside of this development across the street, where there's a pump station that can pressurize it and get it all the way out to the Wendell treatment plant. So I'll go ahead, clean my boots. I don't want to be tracking a whole bunch of shit in here after I just got done cleaning it. Jump down inside. Ooh. And I'm sure if you guys have done construction like this before, you know you really don't want to be getting in these manholes without having at least a spotter up above you there. But since this one's so shallow, I'm not all that worried. Usually I have my brother out here working with me, and just makes you feel a little bit better about getting in these manholes. Go ahead and release the air from this guy. Make sure you have a good hold on it. The last thing you want to do is have this thing fall into the pipe and you're trying to fish it out with a hook or something. I mean, that's an expensive mistake right there. It costs you a lot of time. Y'all might think this manhole looks a little weird here since it's white. I know it has something to do with the pump station that is over at the back of that other development. For some reason, it requires a certain amount of manholes upstream to be coated like this. Like I said, I can't really tell you why, but I know the guys that paint these things charge a lot of money. So, something I would like to add to our services eventually as we're in here cleaning. We can coat some of these manholes on pump station projects. But, ooh, these things are slippery. Let all the air out of this guy, put the cap back on. And I mean, you can see it's not 100% clean. It's tough to get absolutely everything out of it. The last thing you want to do is go shooting a bunch of this into the pipe. So these little plugs come in handy. And that thing's dirty as a motherfucker. Ugh. Excuse my language. Yeah, I mean, that's dirty in there, fellas. They ain't passing that camera test. But like I said, I have no way to get to that next manhole down there. And even if I do, there's no guarantee I can push all this sediment down to the next manhole where I can suck it up. That's where a bigger jetter comes into play. And I'd love to get my hands on one of them. Alright, we're back here top side. Remember, as you're climbing up out of your manhole, using your 3 points of contact, as a safety man would say. Alright, so there it is, partly clean manhole. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least the surveyors can come in here and get their job done. Another thing I was thinking about, come over here and look at this guy. It's got a little bit of sediment sitting in the bottom, and when I say a little bit, I mean probably about 1.5 feet. But, you know, if they're not interested in getting it cleaned out, what can I do? I'd love to get in here and clean all this out. This would be a fair amount of work. It's a huge storm drain pipe here. That's at least 48 inch. The way this box is made is kind of funny, but, you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. The surveyor that's out here doing the as-builts just came by. It was pretty cool. He was somebody that I actually used to know from when I worked with this company. A little backstory here. This is a cool project for me because when I used to be a grading foreman straight out of college, this is one of the projects that I ended up building. I think got about 120 building pads out here, only a couple streets. We had 2 ponds, one permanent back over here, temporary back in that corner. It's already been filled in. But yeah, maybe I'll take a little walk into the woods and show you guys the pond that we did back there. Some of the ponds that actually end up turning out the coolest are the ones that have rock in the bottom. And if you know Wendell, you know this place is entirely rock underneath the ground, which makes for, you know, a lot of headaches during construction. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it efficiently. You can make a lot of money on a rock project. And it is pretty cool when they get the blasting crew out there and you get to see them setting charges in the ground, blowing the rock to pieces, and you get to have fun with an excavator digging it out so you can throw it through a crusher. got a little off track there, but this is the machine we're using. This is a Ditch Witch HX30G. I got this thing brand new from the Ditch Witch dealer in Garner, North Carolina. It's treated me good so far. If I gotta be honest, I really knew nothing about these machines when I first got into this, and so I had really no idea what to look for when it came to sizing one of these machines. And basically what it came down to is I bought the least expensive one I could find, and just kind of went from there. I've been pretty surprised about the performance of this machine. I thought the tank, the spoil tank, was going to be a little too small for some of the projects that I wanted to take on, but I have been pleasantly surprised. If we're working in the roadway, you know, you have limited work hours. You can only start at, well, let's see, shut down the road at 9 a.m. in the morning. Then you got to be out of the road by 8 or 4 p.m. in the afternoon so they can resume normal traffic patterns. So really, it doesn't end up being too long of a work day, and we can get about 4 locates done in a single day if it's pretty close together and we don't have to do too much moving around. But when you're only doing 4 holes a day, a 500-gallon tank ends up working out pretty well. My main complaint about this machine so far has been the 80-gallon water tank. I don't know really what they were thinking when they put this thing together, but in no world is 80 gallons of water enough for 500 gallons worth of slurry. So I don't know if they intended for this thing to be a dry vac or a wet vac, but really the blower this thing has doesn't create enough suction to use it with dry material most of the time. I will say, if you get into some sandy stuff, sometimes you can get lucky. You can just kind of lightly break it up with a shovel and it'll suck it right out, no problem, which makes dumping this thing a lot more cleaner of a process. But here's our 12-inch ball like I was talking about. Just picked this sucker up today. It's a little harder to find than I thought, but we ended up getting one. I mean, you wouldn't believe how much these suckers cost too. I got an 8-inch one for this project last week, and it ran me around $310, but for those extra couple inches to get the a 12-inch ball, you're looking at around 570 bucks, I believe it was. So pretty big difference for only 4 more inches. But as some of you guys might know, 4 inches can make a huge difference. Get that back in the box. Throw this in here. This is the wand I've been using recently. I broke the one that came with the machine within basically my first 3 jobs, and after looking at the dealership and seeing how much a new wand would be, I decided that that was not going to work. So this is actually a wand I got at Northern Tool Supply. It's significantly longer than the wand that came with this machine, which is really nice when you get into those deeper holes. Kind of saves you from having to bend over the entire day, which can be quite uncomfortable when you're doing it for several hours. So let's see. Start to get some of this stuff broken down here. Real easy to disconnect from the back of here. It's usually a safe bet to go ahead and close your valve before you go disconnecting hoses. One cool part about this trailer that I haven't seen on many other trailers is the hoses fit into the frame rails here. And it may seem stupid, but it saves a lot of space and it keeps them straight. So I'm assuming that's going to help out with a lot of wear and tear on these things. I've only gotten about 70 hours on this machine so far, and this hose already has a small tear in it. I did my best with some duct tape and it's been holding up pretty fine. This is a 3-inch dig tube. I'm guessing it's maybe about 6 feet tall. It's about my height. And I'm not claiming I'm 6 feet tall. If you really want to know, I'm probably closer to 5'10", maybe 511 on a good day. Nothing wrong with that. So let's get the rest of the stuff put up. Let's see, so we're getting ready to dump this machine here. I'm thinking I'm gonna dump it right back there with permission from the contractor, of course. One thing I'll say, if you want to do this type of work with a trailer like this, you better get damn comfortable with backing up a trailer. That's one thing. Even in a lot of the guys I know, most of them are not comfortable at all backing up a trailer, and they're like a deer in headlights whenever it comes to moving one of these things around. So it's really not too hard. The biggest part about it is just being confident. Don't let yourself get riled up, and you should be pretty safe. Just make sure you're not gonna back into a freaking mud pile or run over a kid. Those would be the worst case scenarios. So jump out of the truck here, parking brake on. And a little bit about the truck. This is a 2016 Chevy Silverado 2500, and it's a diesel. It is a diesel. Looks like my view's a little messed up. Put that back down. Hopefully the light's not fucking this up too much, but this really is a beautiful truck here. A little bit about the trailer. The trailer, I think, sits at around 6,000 pounds, completely dry. That means nothing in the spoil tank, no water. And at 6,000 pounds, this truck is able to pull it with no problems whatsoever. I've been very pleased with that. The gross vehicle weight rating, or whatever it is on this trailer, I believe is 16,000 pounds. I really haven't pulled it over a scale or anything to see how heavy it is when it's completely full, but I can say that the truck is able to do it without skipping a beat. I haven't had any problems towing this thing so far. Sometimes I even have an extra 250-gallon water tank sitting there in the bed of the truck, and as you know, water's not exactly the lightest thing in the world. About 250 gallons adds up quickly, and that's a lot of weight to have sitting there in the bed of your truck. But that truck is capable of the 250 gallons of water in the bed with this trailer full as well. I've done it. I don't know if it's a great idea, but I haven't had any problems so far. So a little bit of procedure for dumping this thing. We have a clear area here. You can see there's a ditch that's going to take this water far away and make it not a problem for me. So we'll start by making sure the truck's in park, parking brake on. Open this cam locker cap at the bottom. Get it out of the way. Open this up for airflow, and then pop this sucker open, which I don't expect to have too much of today. Like I said, I mean, it was just that tiny little manhole, so not a whole lot to worry about. I doubt I'll even open it up and spray it out, just because that'll be a waste of time, and I know I'm using this machine, and let's see, today's Tuesday, I'm using it Friday to dig out some footers for light poles for Panera Bread. It should be a cool project. Haven't done anything like that before, but nothing out of the ordinary. I'd say this machine should have no problem with it. I'm thinking I'm going to try to do it dry. It's a small job site, nowhere where we can dump our mud at the end of the day, so as long as the soil is not too wet or hard packed, I'm just going to try to break it up with a shovel and suck it out through my little hose, and that'll allow me to just dump dry material right there at the Panera for the site contractor to worry about later when he's doing his final cleanup. So most of the water's out. I'm just going to turn this thing on and tip it back a little bit so that we can get that last little bit out. can see, there's not really anything coming out the back anymore. We know that it is empty. There wasn't a whole lot of sand in there to worry about. Not going to open it up and spray it down, but something with these machines, you really want to keep them as clean as possible. They're not cheap, and you want to try to prevent, you know, any undue wear. So now that we've got it clean, basically, I don't know if you can see, I get up in here, make sure there's nothing big sitting where this little gate valve closes. I've already made that mistake a couple times, and it has made it so that this gate valve doesn't really like to fully close, which can be a pain in the ass. So get that thing up, and then we'll look in there. Looks like it's making a pretty good seal. I'm not too worried about it since you put this cap on the top, and that really prevents anything from being able to leak out. Usually I spray this thing out, but it's going on pretty easy. I'm gonna lock my straw into place. Something that's funny about this machine, you know, they make this perfect slot for the your dig tube to fit into, but the 3-inch dig tube will fall right out of there once you're hitting bumps and stuff. So created a little thing with a carabiner here just for that extra little bit of peace of mind. I can go and wrap this around here, lock it into place, and I know that I'm not going to get to the next job site and notice that I don't have a dig tube, which could be a pretty bad day. So that's locked into place there. This is closed, that's closed. Some things you just want to pay attention to before you leave. You want to make sure your reel's locked into place. You don't want to drag your hose down the road. Make sure your boom is locked in and ready to go. At the end of a project, I usually close this thing just because I don't want birds making a nest on the inside while it's parked. But that's about it. Don't pay attention to how I don't have a license plate. I promise it's sitting at my apartment somewhere, and it's just the last thing I think of whenever I come out to work. Which is no excuse, but just kind of how things go. But we're hooked up, we're dumped, the machine is clean, so let's get the hell out of here. Give you a little POV driving this hog. Let's see. Excuse the dirty truck. Hopefully there's nothing incriminating in here that you guys can see. I use this truck as a work truck, as I'm doing right now, but it is also my personal truck, so it's not always the best. You want to have things in there that are useful when you work, but you know, sometimes you don't want it to be full of shit when you're doing something with your girlfriend or going somewhere with your friends. It's kind of a pain in the ass to have your entire back seat full of stuff. We'll do a little drive through on this project here. Roll down my window so you can see. That doesn't look very good. We'll keep the windows rolled up. Apparently tent works pretty well with the GoPro. We're coming uphill on the site here. Small subdivision. This is a multi-phase project where we actually started on the other side of this main road here with phase 1, and I think we did around 320 building pads over there. After we finished that up, we bounced over here to the other side of the main road and did another 2 phases. That phase over there is completely done. Houses are being built and sold. This phase over here, it sat dormant for a long time. I'm not sure what problems they were having, but they're just now getting to the point where they're closing this project out. You can see the builder has some signs up advertising lots. I hope you can't see the name, but we'll do a little drive through over here. On this project, there was 6 different sewer manholes that had different types of sediment and the bottom that were preventing the surveyors from getting all the way down to the lowest point, which is really the measurement they need to confirm that this whole sewer system is going to be able to gravity feed to where it needs to go. This would be the absolute high side of the project. This is where, you know, as you're doing sewer, you may know you want to work from the top down. You know, anything that may go down deeper into the sewer line, you then have a second chance at getting it again at the next one. So, get turned around right here. I was talking all that crap about backing up a trailer, but let me say, I'm no expert, but I've gotten to the point where I'm pretty comfortable at it here. Like I said, a huge part of it is just being confident. Be aware of your surroundings. It says I got about 23 minutes left worth of recording, so I'll try to squeeze some extra things in here to make it interesting for you guys. Have a little more footage to work with when I go to edit. But these houses here are going to be slab on grade. It's about as basic as you can get, and